Hello everyone, today I have the last game that I played in the Denker National Tournament of High School Champions, and if you've seen my previous three videos, you'll know that I now have 3.5 out of 5, which is already a good result, so even if I lose this game, I'm still pretty happy with my tournament, which means that in this game there's absolutely no pressure, and I'm also playing one of the top seeds, Vishnu Vanapali from North Carolina. You can find some of his games on YouTube. He played down there Ditsky in a Blitz game, you can search for that. And let's just get right into the game. So this game was actually broadcast over the DGT board, so you could watch it from home, which is kind of embarrassing. But anyways, the game goes e4, c5, and my opponent plays bishop c4, which is like, I think what he was trying to do was avoid like cringe theory and just play like a regular game, which is a pretty good strategy when you're playing a low-rated player. You want to be playing the lower-rated player instead of playing against Stonkfish. So my opponent plays c3 now, and bishop back to b3, sidestepping pawn to d5. So I castle, he goes d4, takes d5. This is all very, very normal. So now I play this move at c6. This is all normal. f6. So the idea with f6 is to, like right now, white has a kind of a good center with the pawns, and f6 just kind of like chips away at that. And once white takes, I have two options to recapture it, take the rook or the bishop. I considered taking with the rook, but I just didn't do it for some reason, and I took with the bishop instead. But this is actually like slightly worse because it runs into bishop h6. And this attacks the rook, and it's actually pretty annoying because like wherever I move the rook is kind of cringe, and if I block with the bishop, then like I don't want to lose this bishop because I created a lot of dark square weaknesses. So there's like Swiss cheese. So I play rook to e8, which is the worst move out of the three possible moves. So if you ask me why I moved the rook here, let's ask a different question. So if I move here, it's a lot more logical because I can like stay on this open f file, and like okay, he can kick me, but I can take, and then I can attack this pawn and the rook, and like I can attack this pawn really quickly, and that's the reason why this is actually okay, because eventually I can like win back this bishop, and the dark square weaknesses like aren't so bad anymore. But I just didn't like knight to g5, and I also didn't like bishop g7, so I went rook e8. But now this rook is like kind of bad. So I goes bishop to c2, which is a good move, relocating the bishop to like the slightly weakened king side because I moved my f pawn in front of my king. And now I play this move knight to f5, trying to take this bishop away from this like spot over here. Now I expected him to take. That was probably part of his idea of playing bishop c2, and like one of my ideas was to take with this pawn and like try to do stuff, but unfortunately it doesn't do stuff, and it just weakens my king for no reason, and also like it makes this backward pawn. And so what I should do is take with the pawn, and what I didn't like that is that he could like attack this pawn at some point, but after the game he told me that I could also attack this pawn, so I guess I was just afraid for no reason of this weakness. It's not really a weakness. This is probably like more okay. And it's basically a normal game, except like I've kind of pushed some pawns that I wish that I could hopefully like put back here. Okay, so I take with this pawn, and now this is like just not a really good position to have. Compared with if I take with the rook instead, then like okay, you can play bishop g5. That's like a one-move threat. I just drop back, and now my idea is like the idea with that f6 is d4 is like an isolated pawn, so you just attack it with all your pieces. So now I can actually do that instead of having to deal with like the bishop here. Okay, so he takes, I take with this pawn, now he plays rook e1. He basically just plays a lot of normal moves, and since my position is bad, normal moves are like really good. So I play some moves. He goes here, putting the knight on the center square, which is usually a good idea. It also makes room for the rook to come over and check me. So that's what he does next. I go queen c7, trying to take this knight, because like it's a free pawn. So yeah. But he checks me, and now one of my ideas was to block, but I can't block because he goes back, I think, and he eats my rook. So I go here instead. Now he attacks my queen, I drop back, and now goes queen f4, which is a really solid move, defending the knight so I cannot take it because he takes and my bishop is like trapped. I can't do that. So my idea, if he like, there was also a move bishop to f8 attacking the rook, and my idea was to take, takes, and I thought that this would be like an okay endgame, but apparently he has rook to e3, and I do not have this move bishop to f4 pinning because he has this check, forking, and if I go here, then he actually just eats it because the queen is like pinned. And I can eat this knight, but this is obviously really, really bad. Okay, and if I go back to like f6, then, well, like actually, this is the only square I can go to because he's also trying to eat this pawn with a pin, sort of. Not really, but because I'm attacking the knight. But if I move back, he just moves the knight to d4, and he has a lot of threats on the pawns, and it's really hard to deal with. Save that would have been okay, but he chooses the most solid move, queen to f4. Now I go a6, kicking the knight. I'm expecting him to drop back and then try to go somewhere else. And my idea here was to, if I can remember my idea, I think it was to go back to c7, I believe, and attack the pawn some more. But he goes back to g6, which is something I did not expect. And it's like a good square for the knight, and I can't eat it because he eats my queen. And I kind of panicked here. I could have just moved the bishop to like h5 and just like hang on for some more moves. Obviously, it's like a really good position for white, but I'm not down any material at least. So like after rook f1, I can't really make any moves. Like if the computer says the best 3 moves are a5, and queen b8, so like moving away from the king side. So that's like not very ideal. So I decided to just like, okay, if it's a bad position, I might as well like sack the queen. So I sack the queen. Now I have a bishop and a knight, and like this thing here. So my hope is that if I eat this pawn, I can push this pawn. And if I can do that, then it's gonna be good. However, it's not so easy to eat the pawn, unfortunately. Because if I eat with the bishop, he goes bishop g5, and I also can't eat with the knight. And you can try to pause the video to see why I cannot eat with the knight, because it looks like eating with the knight is really good because I'm threatening like 2 forks. But if you saw that there's bishop to g7 check, then good job, you have good tactics, because if I take, then he takes my rook. So I can't eat it right now, so I go bishop g6, stopping this check. And now he trades my dark squared bishop, which is a really good trade. I'd like to trade these 2 bishops, because then the dark squared bishop complements these pawns, but that doesn't happen, so now I have like 5 pawns, basically, instead of a bishop. Yeah, so that's kind of bad. So now I go king g7, h4, king f6. I'm like just making moves at this point because there's not much I can do, and this is definitely not a fortress. So I'm just like waiting to see how he like does stuff. Because usually when I'm playing like a higher rated player, the moment that I resign is like either they play like a good enough move that resigning is acceptable, or I feel like I would be able to I would play the exact same moves as them at this point. So at this point, like if I was white, I wouldn't be like completely sure where to attack because on the queen side it's pretty solid. But h4 was a really nice idea to just like poke my king. So he also sacrifices this pawn and moves the rook here. Now he's threatening this. So e5 is like forced. Now he goes h5, and then I didn't see this move. He plays queen h4, which is really nice because it's threatening a checkmate in 1 with rook g6. And if I sidestep with the king, he eats my knight. So that was a really smooth conversion. I made some like pretty bad positional decisions, such as taking with the bishop and moving the rook here, and also taking with this pawn. So like kind of 3 bad moves out of 4, which is kind of what set this game in a downward spiral. But that's whatever, because I still got 3.5 out of 6, which is a really good result. And so I played in the high school section. There was also the elementary school, middle school, and the like just girls tournament scholastic. So there's the Rockefeller, the Barber, Denker, and the Herring. And there's also this tournament for seniors, but like in all the like ceremonies, they had like the seniors separate in like another room for some reason. But anyways, my YouTube companion Zozo Chess, who I will link in the description, won the herring event. Unfortunately, she doesn't upload anymore, kind of. Or else you could like watch her recaps, but she doesn't do those, unfortunately. So, but still, you should subscribe to her because I almost have double her subscribers, which is a little bit sad. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'm also out of chess content because I won't have many more tournaments. So if you want like other content, like potentially some Rubik's Cube content, I also like doing these. Or if you saw my math live stream, I could do some more of those. But I don't want to do that many math live streams. And also, if I do some like variety content, what should I change my username to? Because right now it's Chess the James Way. I could also do it to like change it to like Stuff the James Way, but that's kind of like potato-y, I feel like, as opposed to corny. Okay, so anyways, put your ideas in the comments, and thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video, which I have no idea when it's going to be.